celebrities buy ferns. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Is that galvanizing?
See, that's what I want. Something fun and easy like that. Yeah.
So this video is actually showing the start of us deciding what this is going to be. There we go.
Let's start there.
Okay.
All right. So we're at the squad. We're talking internally about doing something fun with video, something informative, something consistent, and maybe have the flair of coffee in it. We love coffee at the squad. There's a lot of offices that love coffee, so that's not unique or novel. But you know, we've got some roots in our business that come from the coffee world. My partner Wayne Cox started a coffee business years ago called On the Ground Cafe. A lot of our team loves the local coffee scene here in Louisville. We're blessed to have so many unique local shops and roasteries. So we're kind of toying around with how this might be SquadTalks over coffee. Not like coffee in cars with comedians or anything like that. We wouldn't go cliche like that, but something of our own. And but to start off this week, we've got Alea Petersen with us, and Alea is in charge of our marketing here at the marketing squad. She's also a director of partner marketing with some of our main partner accounts, and she also leads up our strategy team. And so the topic we're gonna crush today is blogging. Is it still a thing? Is it a dinosaur? Should you still be doing it? Should you still be loving it? And so Alea's got a lot of great perspective, and she's going to share that today. So welcome, Alea.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here, Bryce Raley.
Sip on your coffee.
It's real. And so, but kind of like you said, too, I feel like, you know, making parallels to coffee, just the type of conversations and energy that come between like coffee talks or being at a cafe or whatever. We want to do that, but we want to translate it to how marketing and business go hand in hand, and how the different tactics, you know, that are used in marketing, how they create the energy, and they create the just propelling your business. So today, our particular topic, like you said, is blogging. And so you might know what that means, or you might have just heard the word, but you've never tried it. But
And today, before we get started, to plug, we've got a coffee mug from
Heine Brothers.
Heine Brothers
yes.
today. Yeah, so.
Yes. And so, yeah.
I'm sporting a Service Bank coffee mug. Shout out, hat tip to Ken Ice with Aegis.
Mm-hmm. So blogging, if you will, is basically publishing your own writing, basically. It also should include great images. It can include other links within an article, a blog article that you write. It can also be centrally focused on a video that you have on that page, and then you're also talking about it. But blogging's been around popular for over 10 years.
Several millennia, I believe.
Yeah, a few decades it's really been around. It's been very popular for 15-ish years maybe, where some people make a living just from their blog, their writing, their content. But the reason why we're bringing it up right now is because blogging has been around so long, and it's bloggers, people who do a lot of it, it's kind of oversaturated now. So we're talking about how, does it still matter, and how do you still use it and it make a difference for business? So where I like to start is just the idea of getting found, because a lot of businesses, that's still their issue, is they're not being found online. Their audience, their target customers, just not finding them, because again, there's a lot of noise out there. And so, but obviously if you're not online at all, if your information is not there, if you have a website maybe, but it's just a home page and a product page, you're not getting found because you have not produced great messages and educational material and things like that give people the answers they need, I guess. So the more that you have that, not only is it easier to show up on Google, but you actually are giving people the exact things they need to learn about you, to choose to use your product or service and all of that. So, I mean, that's kind of where it starts too. If you have nothing there but basically a homepage, it's just not setting you up for getting people the information they need.
Yeah, and that's something I don't want to take for granted. You know, these videos are intended for the business owner, the leader out there of a business, whether it's a new startup kind of fledgling business or a seasoned business, doing anywhere from $5-10 million to upwards of $75-100 million. We want to speak your language and make this, clear. So I don't want to skip anything. So the difference, Alea, between, just putting content on your website, adding a new page, and a blog, to me, one key difference is a blog is typically reverse chronological order. It's published in a way that there's dates often, there's authors, and it's back in the old days there used to be feeds, RSS feeds that people would subscribe to, and readers and such. I kind of miss those days. It's still the way the podcast world works, but so that's a little bit of the difference between what difference of a blog and just adding website content to your website. As you were talking about a home page, just different pages. And it's important to have content on your website that gets ranked and found on search engines. But a blog is a little different in that it's oriented around dates and publishing and order, if you will. So
yeah, and I mean they are resources that I feel like on a home page or product page you don't want to go on and on and on. There's some level of it being just easy to kind of scroll through, but a blog kind of standalone, it could give them everything they need to know. And even sometimes the longer the better, because it allows a person to stay on that page, which looks great for your website if someone's staying and consuming all that information. But I also love the standaloneness of it, that if you or a salesperson or any of us was trying to talk to someone, and then it's like, I'll just send them this link and it will sell for me, or it'll give them everything they need, or they will find this fascinating.
Yeah.
What a great resource tool, whether it's to help sales or just to create a community, a following of people, because if you share your blog links on social media, in groups, whatever it is, I mean, it just keeps conversations going, which is a big part of marketing.
Yeah, and I've heard you guys talk in terms of the content strategy team. When you're going into a client that we're partnering with, doing their ongoing digital inbound marketing for them, with them, that's one of the great ways to kind of pull and extract content out is, starting with the sales team. Like, hey, what are the objections you guys are hearing in the field? What are the questions you're constantly answering? Number one, answering those is probably going to appeal to searchers, people searching for those, answers to their questions, their problems. But it's also going to equip those sales folks with links to save them some time in the sales process. Yeah, we wrote a blog about that. You should, read up on it before we get back together again.
Yeah.
They can be used in nurturing emails. We're talking about some basic stuff that we do, but that's often the stuff that gets missed is just the basics.
Yeah, I would say if we were going to explain how to blog, it would start there of what are the questions and pain points people are having, and then there's your topic or your series that you do.
One thing you mentioned a second ago, Alea, was the length of a blog. I remember early days of blogging, it was about being more short, concise. Seth Godin, maybe one of the most prominent bloggers of all time, was known for his anywhere from one line to many paragraphs, but a lot of short, concise blog posts. Recent years, the trend has been more Google rewarding longer, type pillar content, more in-depth content.
Especially if it looks authoritative. Yeah. Yeah. I think though, no matter the length, good content's better than no content that you've produced.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Because that goes into some of what blogging forces you to do. Alea and I were just watching a video that I'd shared with our team earlier today from Tom Peters and Seth Godin from a decade ago. You can Google it, Tom Peters, Seth Godin on blogging, and they share their thoughts as two industry marketing leaders on how impactful and powerful blogging is to them and to others. And they talk about the net effect and the power and the magnitude of the tool, but they talk way more about what it forces you to do and become as a company, as a person, as a personal brand, as an influencer. It forces you to think about your business. When you have to sit down and thoughtfully piece together a blog post that you're going to hit publish and share with the world, it just forces you to think about your business and your services, your target audience in a different way. And you can't replace that. So.
Yeah, this is definitely where the inspirational background music would come in, because it's just so important.
Do we have some of that? Can we do that kind of stuff?
Add it in later.
Okay.
It's so important for
next.
any business leader or any business owner to to know their story, know their messaging, to narrow in on it. Some businesses spend a lot of time on that. Like, this is how we talk about ourselves. This is how we educate. This is how we explain. A lot of businesses don't give enough time to that. And blogging, if you know, like, okay, we need to get a couple blogs out over the next few weeks or months, it forces you to get the messaging right, to think through all that. And then when you are at events or you are selling in a meeting, you've already put the practice in on how you speak and how you leverage and how you identify with pain points and all of that. So it's really true that just, even if not many people read your first blog post, just the fact that you sat down and did it, it grows you as a business person, business leader.
And maybe that's the way I focus on all habits. I've been reading the book Atomic Habits lately.
I have that on my
by
list.
saying reading the book, I'm 2 chapters into it, but beside the point. I get like 7 books going at one time. It's just the way I'm wired, and I get like halfway, 3/4 of the way through them. And so, but I'm
have you tried audio?
delving into. I'm not good at that either. But Atomic Habits. I mean, it makes me think about, like, if your business is looking to get into blogging and start this your brand, build the habit first. Set a frequency and go after it. And it might not be the most strategic, creative work you've ever done, but that's what you can do down the road. Hit publish first, and then come back around and get strategic. We went through seasons like that at the Squad. We're a transparent group where we probably were a little too autopilot on just publishing content, and we've started to kind of look back and say, let's go quality over quantity, and let's get more strategic. But we already know how this works. We've built the habit. We've been in this space for a long time. If you're just getting started, I would encourage you to build the habit. Set a frequency, stick to it, hold yourself to it, and hit publish.
The other thing about that is that even if you haven't put a lot of thought in the keywords you want in there, because that is a factor with blogging, is knowing the right words that people are searching for. And there's some tools to that. Like, we support our clients with that. We have tools and knowledge on how to strategically plan the right keywords and to optimize all of your blog posts so that they fit what Google wants and all of that. But even if you just went onto your Google search bar and went incognito, so not where it's knowing everything about your history of searches, incognito, you can see a whole lot about your competitors and how they're ranking for certain things. Even just looking at the number of people who are searching for something, or the number of websites that are coming up for a particular topic. Like, you can often just search yourself and see some of that, and that helps to guide you. But what you just said about the discipline, if you're not adding new things to your website in a rhythmic way, and it's been like a year since you've added more content, that does not look very good for the health of your site. For one, it keeps your website strong and fresh when you are adding new content, but then it gives a reason for even your current customers who already know what you do and like what you do. It gives them a reason to keep coming back. And so, like, again, engaging a community of people and keeping them engaged, and two-way conversation with them, whether that is on social, email, blog, and they all kind of intertwine. So if today you have to be on social media in some way, today you should still be emailing people. Blog posts give you the meat that you can actually put on all those channels. It helps fuel that. So
I would make the case on the fly here that you should always write to tell your story. So to people, humans do business with humans. Chris Brogan said it, not me, years ago. But you should also write to search engines, right? I mean, let's put some thought into the keywords, into how we optimize a post for getting ranked. But let's also tell a story. Maybe there's some posts that just tell a story and talk human to human. There's some posts that just are technical and are attempting to write to get ranked and to get found. I would make the case that you can mesh those two together pretty well most times. And I don't know if that's done enough out there. If people are writing to humans but with an optimization to get ranked for search engines, anytime you can, really. Or at least the percentages. Maybe this post is 25% geared towards storytelling, connecting with others, and 75% the goal is to rank on it. But to me, you ought to be able to accomplish both those tasks in most posts.
For our own marketing, we've seen it where, and for some of the clients that we help, that some of the blog posts that just get the most traction are spotlighting team members because people are fascinated by that. And maybe it is because it's already their own community who know them and are like, yeah, I'd love to know more about this key person. But then the other ones that we as a company rank for, we know because we got the like subject line right and maybe the headings and stuff, because we hit the nail on the head of saying how to accomplish this, and people search that way.
Yeah.
So we got that right, and so those types of things. But I think it is so important to consider both, for sure, like actually telling a really good story, but also nailing exactly how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at the analytics, over time you're going to see what posts are resonating and bringing traffic back. And I use this analogy a lot. A blog post in the financial world is like an annuity. An annuity in the retirement world, there's the different types, but the type I'm talking about here is you bought an annuity, which is you put a fixed amount of money down and it gave you a series of payments over your lifetime, much like a pension would work. A blog post, you wrote it once. It sends traffic every month for the life of your website. The traffic may be good or bad.
Yeah.
It may be meaningful or not meaningful. Maybe visitors who are going to convert it. Maybe we have some posts that bring in lots of traffic that does us no good.
Random.
Random, yeah. But the fact that you can do that exercise of thinking about a topic, writing a blog, and bringing in people into your site month after month after month by doing something one time is a powerful act in marketing. So.
Well, and like I think we were saying this earlier, that today marketing means content marketing for every company means that they get to be their own publisher, their own producer, their own media company on social video that they might put on their website. Blogging especially is like, used to you would have to ask a news source to share something about you, and now you can produce that yourself.
Yeah,
and so
now news sources can ask you if you'll share stuff for them.
That's sometimes, yeah, and then that's good too. Like kind of collaborating with different people in content is often great, but what you just said is that it's for the most part free and can pay dividends for a long time.
And I have seen businesses do this in their industry where they become such a thought leader, such a media hub in their space that the large trade shows, the large industry associations are now, knocking on their doors, trying to figure out how to come alongside
How
that.
to do it that well, yeah.
Because they've gotten out, they've used a terminology that Brian Halligan, CEO of HubSpot's used in the past, building the moat, if you will, around their brand and their business online by just dominating search queries. So. Yeah.
But I think the big question every business has is, will this produce revenue for me? Will this produce leads? And we know that is, the answer to that is a resounding yes for blogs. Not every single blog, but and sometimes that's just because maybe you didn't even write it the best way, or you didn't end it with a clear call to action. But if you do leverage your blog post in a way that draws someone in and asks them to take an action, it's been said for a long time, you're more likely to have a qualified lead from a blog than just general content out there, or even sales pages and everything. If a blog is answering everything that they need to know, so they got there because they weren't just, your brand looked kind of cool. They got to your page because you were literally answering a question to a problem they had, and if you answered it well, then they're already bought in. They're already at that bottom of the decision making, because it wasn't like you didn't have to convince them of the problem. They were already searching.
Yeah.
You didn't have to, I guess just the long process for some people when they just see a sales ad online. I mean, there's still a big gap of why should I trust you? Do you even know what you're talking about?
How are you different?
How are you different? Blog posts can accomplish all of that. It can clearly set you up as an authority. It can give them everything they need to know and how to get your solution at the very end, and then they're pretty ready at that point.
Yeah.
So.
And to me, Braden just walked by, and this would be a great person to ask this. Can we just pull people in these videos as we can? One of our resident experts on analytics. When you pull up a Google Analytics, any dashboard, I mean, you're going to see people coming to your site. Help me if I miss one, but I mean, it's mainly going to be through organic traffic, through ad traffic, or through direct traffic. Organic means they searched for you and found, search terms associated with your site, your content, your pages, your blog. Ad, you were running an ad on those terms, search display. Or direct means they already knew you.
They already knew your website. They
bookmarked you in their browser. They already do business with you. They knew your domain name and typed it in. So given that, to control one of those, you have to spend dollars on ads. The other, you have to already have a client base or people who know you. The only one that you can impact in a bootstrap type of way is that organic one, and that goes back to content on either your
content.
new page content, fresh page content, or blog updates, posts. So
Yeah.
Is this a good time to stop and talk about Michael Bolton? Alea's a huge Michael Bolton fan.
I've seen him in concert in recent times.
She touched his
hand.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you didn't talk about that, I was going to bring it up myself. I mean, that's noteworthy.
I should blog about that. You know, sometimes blogs are just like getting to tell fascinating things.
It's
you
a
know?
great segue.
Well, I do like to say, like, if you don't have an entertaining factor, which this is our entertaining moment of the video, but like in your blogs, your website, your social, you know, you have to have some like entertainment elements because, again, we're trying to engage people, you know, so.
We had a client who is one of the better success stories that we've had, case studies in terms of driving traffic to a site organically. And we did it with a lot of content in their industry, but at a certain point, they would just say, and this is Don Robinson, he wouldn't mind us saying it with Louisville Switching. We worked with him for years in the past, and you know, he would say, let's do some special interest stories. You know, let's do some things not just about us. So we had a lot of fun with their content. You know, there was a good mixture of content about Ottawa yard trucks and
their actual
their
core
refurbishments, their service business, their parts business. But we also had a series we did with him on, he was kind of a foodie and a restaurateur, so to speak, and we published a lot of his reviews of restaurants, had a lot of fun with that. It led to some business for him. I mean, honestly, again, humans do business with humans. So we also did things with safety, just general trends and logistics and shipping, you know, that people would find interesting maybe. So all the content doesn't have to be self-promotion.
Sure, it shouldn't be, actually.
No.
And that with his restaurant passion, that's just where they were able to associate it with their brand. It takes a little time, but you know, you got to get to be known that we also really love our local food scene. But there is a way for any business to find adjacent topics that are not, and we would recommend that. Like that it's not just talking about what you offer, but again, what are the pain points or the interests of your community that you're trying to build or trying to engage. And a lot of times it is, I mean, it's a lot of times food. It's a lot of times the entertainment factor, the things they love.
Yeah, we have another client right now who's in the high-end luxury custom home building business. Perry Lyons and their team, he and Adam Gallagher and Ben Robbins, they do a lot of high-end homes and remodels and Homerama,
and we
big
know
Homerama
kitchens
builder.
are what sell.
Yeah, kitchens are what sell, and Perry is an amazing chef. I'd say award-winning at this point. He's won the Golden Spatula Award at the Home Builders Cook-Off multiple years in a row
Fundraiser,
now. He's won some other culinary stuff, and they've just went with that. You know, people see him as that. Not only people in the building business, but his clients know that about him. And so they're just starting to do more so video content than blogging in this example, but it's just something it's natural and they're running with it. I would gather we could find every business some kind of offshoot that is either connected to the owner, leadership team, or the whole culture of the business that's worthy of talking about and telling stories about. That's not just content to rank in search engines.
And kind of having your categories or pillars of content can actually help you do it more and do it consistently, of saying, like, we know we want to talk about ourselves in these ways. We know we want to always highlight these aspects of pain points or things people need. I know I keep referring to that, but then also, like, we want to share who our team is a lot, or we want to talk about our love for our city and food. And so we would recommend that too, is like having sort of these pillars or these categories that you're always being sure you're covering those bases over a course of a few months, you know, when you're writing. So.
Absolutely. Whether you're looking to hire an agency or whether you're looking to do this with an internal team, either way, we'll say, we'll use the example if you're trying to do this internally. What's a jumping off point? How do you get started as a part of an overall strategy and make blogging a part of that strategy?
Yeah. I mean, I think the point I just made about kind of planning out your main...
I wasn't listening.
Your main topics that you think you can talk about, you should talk about. So you can, because like you have the expertise already, so and it's who you are or whatever, but then the things you should be because you've heard from your customers what they're saying, what they're asking, and even the things that you love. So like planning out a content... I mean, it's just a content plan. It's like the main things you want to say. That's a good start. I think the other thing is a lot of people don't know at all how to publish just one blog post. And so, but if you've ever accessed the back of your website, especially on WordPress, there's a pretty clear place called posts. So kind of just trying that out, like opening that post section, putting words back there, doing all that. But we also have resources and team members who can, we can share resources, we can show you how to do that as well. So that would be one thing that some people might need, is understanding just how to actually write and publish.
Yeah. I can see that being a follow-up, maybe a screenshot of like maybe a WordPress and a HubSpot publishing interface. Those are the two tools we use. Doesn't mean that's the tool you use or the CMS that you use, content management system for your website, but it does account with those two tools for probably about 40 to 50% of the overall website market. Especially if you're running a content management system. But if you've got a custom CMS, whoever built that for you should be able to add a blog functionality, hopefully, and get you off and running. So.
But then if anybody is looking for actual support in content strategies, even just how to get your website up to par, and then how to have good content on it that will rank, that is obviously a big part of what we do. So we can consult on that. We can help represent you by producing content for any business pretty much out there.
Yes, if you're a business owner or a CEO of a business, and it's basically you and the sales team and the operations team, we work with a lot of businesses in that regard. Yeah, where we're working directly with the owner or the CEO, and we're the marketing team. We also work with a lot of those are probably the businesses maybe $5 to $15 million. As you get over that, you start to develop leadership teams and structures a little more complex. And in that scenario, a lot of businesses between maybe 15 million and 50 million, we're working with the marketing director, but it's either just them or maybe them and a very small team, and they need an extension. And that's where the marketing squad can step in and run through the different team members that we've got.
Copywriters,
roles.
graphic designers, strategists that understand SEO or ad space, project managers, analytics. Yeah, so supplement your current team with
developers and videographers.
We've
got one of them on staff.
That is currently how we're doing this very thing. Yes, it's because of a videographer and our love of video.
And photographer.
Yes. But I think in summary, the biggest things that we need people to take action on from this video, because we believe in action and doing and not just talking, is they need to start, as of this week, writing their story and writing about their industry. Just start doing that for all the reasons we said, because then it can start to be used. Maybe you just share it on social media first before it's published as a blog, but you write some things and you share your thought leadership.
Start with a LinkedIn Pulse article.
Yeah.
I mean, publish something there and then eventually get over to your blog.
Or even your post on LinkedIn.
Yeah, write something in a Google Doc that you can publish once you get to the point of publishing. I do want to say our one position that we left out when we were talking was the position that Alea sits in as Director of Partner Marketing, which is the quarterback of any of our ongoing partner programs. And those typically start just as a qualifier, so we're pretty transparent. Those are folks looking to invest usually $50,000 and up annually, and they, the value proposition there is that for the investment of one staff member, likely, who would have some of these skills, but definitely not all of them, they're getting access to an entire team of people and a quarterback who's going to embed themselves in that business to get to know the business, to tell the story, to grow the business. Our tagline is tell your story, grow your business. So we don't want to just tell your story, and we don't want to just grow your business. So I think that's a key thing that I didn't want to leave out. We do have a lot of other things that we serve. 30% of our business is project business, doing the next website, logo, video, branding, graphic design project. And we support a lot of folks in smaller campaigns and hourly work. So don't hear me saying that we don't work with folks under that $50,000 investment, but that is where our partnerships start at. So
if you found this conversation helpful, or if you're interested in learning about other topics related to marketing and business development, we'd love if you subscribe to our YouTube. We're also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
We're on the Twitter and the Gram.
And Instagram, yes.
And Alea, why don't you give them your social handles? They wanna
Follow
connect
me
with
on LinkedIn. It is my name, Alea Petersen, and that Petersen is spelled with Petersen, which is Danish, I think.
But anyway, we're glad to have you join us for an episode of Squad Talks.
Over coffee.